guys, welcome back to another week of Ask Jim. We're here tonight with Jim Penman, founder and CEO of the Jims Group, and our special guest tonight, Safi. We'll get to him in a second. Everyone had a good week?
Lovely week.
Lovely week?
It's good.
Excellent. All right, a couple of things to get through before we start. Ask Jim on our website is there, so if you can't sit through the full hour of the live stream, all the best clips are up on our website at jims.net/askjim. You can also drop a question there. If you can't watch during the live stream, you can leave a question that Jim will get to. The other thing that we've got going at the moment for franchisees, we've got Thanks to Jim. So what we want people to do, we sent it around in the newsletter. We want people to just film a quick video of themselves saying, it's thanks to Jim, I have this. And that can be whatever. It's more time to spend with your family, you have a new car, new house, whatever it may be. It's thanks to Jim. Send those to video@jims.net. Love to see them come through. Next week, Joel is back. So you can finally get rid of me. Everything will be back to the status quo.
Comes out tomorrow, doesn't he? Or
I think he's flying back in, but he'll be back at work on Monday.
Yeah,
is his first day back.
back from Peru.
Back from Peru. He's been floating around South America, I believe. If you are missing out on your Joel fix, we do a podcast every Monday. So new one comes out every single week. I believe we talked about faith this week, Jim, in the podcast, which is something you're very passionate about.
And being interviewed by a militant atheist was interesting too. So
yeah,
you got both sides of that one.
Yeah, Joel certainly has some strong opinions about religion. And now Safi is our guest tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, both sort of inside and outside of the Jims Group?
All right, fantastic. Well, firstly, thank you for having me on the show. I run a digital marketing company, and believe it or not, we owe our origins to Jims Group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started many years back, I was an employee at Jims Group, as you know.
That is right.
Right. So back in the day, and as luck would have it, I was left working in a division that was going to shut down. And then one thing led to the other, and I had some opportunities outside to work with some external clients. That's when I reached out to Jim and said, hey, Jim, look, it's time for me to go solo. Do I have your blessings? And Jim gave his blessing. And as a matter of fact, he also gave me a small little office to begin with.
Yep.
So that's why we say, when you talked about the video in which I have Jim to thank for, so ground zero was here.
Yeah.
Employee number one is over here, and that was about 3 years back. And since then, of course, we've grown, and now we are a full-fledged digital marketing agency. We work with a lot of different clients, both with Jims Group and outside of Jims Group, of course. And my role over here is to provide strategic guidance to Joel and the franchisors, and our customers are over here. So I'm in and out as in when I'm required. And every now and then I get called on to the show.
Yeah, I think we've turned your old office into our table tennis room.
Have.
I think if I'm correct.
You
there.
have
If
indeed.
anybody got any questions about digital marketing and how to do it, he's the man.
So to start off with, do you want to tell us a bit about sort of what digital marketing is? What's the point of it? Why would you spend monies on it instead of sort of radio or a billboard?
Sure. So it's actually the number one question we get whenever we talk to clients, like, why should I be even doing this? The reality is that digital marketing, in our opinion, is the act of building customer relationships online. Now, if you're selling a service or you're selling a product, most of our clients are all service-based, actually. So if you're in any sort of business, you need to be found online. And the number one reason why you need to be found online is because your customers are online. So you go where your customers are. So nowadays, customers are constantly on their phone. So therefore, you need to have strategies to appeal to them on their phone. So hence, the reason why digital marketing is important is because you need to build relationships with your customers in online mediums.
So any questions for Safi? Anything about the online space? Safi, as you go, leave them in the comments. We'll ask Safi about them. In the feed now, I've got 30 people watching, which is great. Sal John has said hi, guys. So it always tunes in. So thanks for tuning in. Jim's Mobile Cafe Victoria says, hey guys, great to see you back. We're always going to be back, Eric. We're never going to miss a week, I don't think. And Shane has said, looking forward to another great Q&A session tonight. We hope it is too. We'll get to the first question, which was submitted to us through our Facebook DMs. So Jim, have you in any time through Jim's Group history, have you changed your methods or your point of view of how you run things? Or has it sort of always been the same sort of idea and philosophy all along?
It's the good to great concept. There's a book by Jim Collins, which they studied successful businesses, and they tried to work out what they had in common. And they actually found there was only one thing they had in common, that there was a basic culture and a basic philosophy, a basic way of looking at things, and everything else changed. And that's basically what we do. The fundamental concept behind Jim's, right from the first time I launched my first franchisee, service to franchisees, service to clients. But everything changes. The way we do things now is completely different to what we did 2 years ago. And we're constantly changing. And one of the struggles we have is that people are still doing things I taught them to do 5 years ago, and we say, you can't do that anymore. It's like marketing.
Yeah.
People get so fixed in the idea of like the old yellow pages and local papers, and sometimes you talk to franchisors and they're stuck on that, and you say, no, we're not going to use that. It doesn't work anymore. It's all online. You've got to have a great website. You've got to go social media. That's the way we get work. And we know that because 95% of our work comes from that. Apart from things like referrals and stuff, we get a lot of those. But yeah.
And Safi, have you changed anything in your business model?
Well, if anything, it's constant. That's change. And like Jim's, like a lot like Jim's Group, for us, customer service is our number one thing. So in fact, on our whiteboard, we have these 3 sayings. The first one is treat every customer with respect. And second, very, very important thing is don't rush. So every email, check it twice. And be very, very careful with your communications. So we haven't changed anything apart from our core principles of being truthful to our customers. Yeah. And of course, the way that we communicate to them has changed. So previously it was more phone calls, lesser emails, but now, of course, we've started to automate things so people receive more and more emails from us. Our billing, for example, right? There were days when we used to send out Excel spreadsheets to make manual invoices. Now everything's moved to zero, things like that. So automation, yes, has changed, but our core values are probably the same.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, a few more people in the feed. We're up to about 40 now, so thanks for tuning in, right? Make sure you leave a question or comment for Jim or Safi. Haydar Hussain has said hello. Hi, Safi.
From Cyprus.
He's in Cyprus again.
Yes, he's just got there. He must have got there.
Excellent.
Just now.
Good to see you, Haydar.
In his villa on the Mediterranean.
Oh,
excellent.
lucky.
All right, now I've got a very long question here. All right, so I'll start and we'll get you to jump in at the end, and if you need to clarify anything, go for it. So, in my role as a franchisor and advocate, I would like to raise this serious topic on behalf of our franchisees: public liability. Sorry to come out right at the gates with a heavy question, and I believe this is a topic that has been touched on in the past, but not to this level of detail, so please bear with me. I understand that due to a large number of insurance claims, the public liability premium has significantly increased, and in particular for the Jim's Cleaning Group, the excess has doubled to $1,000 plus any chemical damage claims. The excess is now a whopping $5,000.
If you use the wrong chemicals.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, because we got horrifying claims. Because somebody said, hey, I can get 10 cents a bottle off this stuff. And then it does $10,000 worth of damage to the client's services. Not a great idea.
All right. So, and the alternative of BizCover is not a viable option for any of our franchisees that hire staff or subcontractors or work on commercial properties, as in those situations, the premium again skyrockets. So my question is this: why are claim-free franchisees being penalised based on the costly mistakes of a few? My franchisees feel that this is severely unfair, and it is causing a lot of concentration. Surely there are other alternatives to explore, such as new franchisees. They are more likely to have claims, just like new car drivers. Should pay a higher premium in excess for every year that they don't claim, then the rate decreases, similar to a no-claim bonus idea. In addition, for any franchisee that makes a claim, they lose their no-claim bonus and their premium increases at renewal. Surely this is a better and more important, a fairer approach rather than the current state of penalising the entire group. I appreciate your thoughts on the matter, so I can share with our franchisee. Thanks.
Not a bad idea. I'm happy to look at it. I mean, it will take up the insurance cost drastically for certain franchisees, particularly new ones who haven't got a lot of money often. So I'm not against it. for sure.
Yeah, so
It's distressing cleaning, as the claims are so horrifying. They really are. I know Haydar's said that he wants to be told about all the claims that are going through.
Yes, and Haydar's put a lot of work into it, developing his own products so that they can't.
Yeah, so
damage
they use a lot of the
surfaces.
enzyme-based stuff, and they really push this. In fact, since we put that $5,000 excess down, I think there's been few of any claims for damaging surfaces because they've been told what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with builders' cleans on
Yes.
windows. They actually were getting some horrifying claims for windows. And, you know, if you go through and the windows are a bit scratched, and you just clean them all, that's okay. You claim on insurance. But now it's a $5,000 excess. So what they do is they check. And they make sure the window, if there's any sign of scratching, you don't touch it. It's not worth getting $200 for a job and being stuck with a $5,000 excess. Yeah.
It's not worth it.
'Cause I think back when we did an interview with Haydar and we talked about his cleaning products, he did say that since he had released the products, the people using that product hadn't made a claim for chemical damage.
Actually, Haydar, presuming you're still on, send through a comment on this. I'd be interested to know what you think, because it is worse for cleaning than other divisions.
Yeah, there's obviously that huge risk of
I think there's some sense to it. Starting off high and then dropping with time as you get no claim, like a no claims bonus, which would also discourage franchisees from taking trivial claims. Like at mine guys, I know they smash a window which is just over the 500. Maybe they should forget about it and wear it and see their premiums go down in future.
Yeah. All right, so excellent question. Thanks for that. It will be addressed, and we'll see if Haydar comes back and makes a comment on it. So Eric from Jim's Mobile Cafe says, Safi, do you think that you should only concentrate on digital marketing, or would it be helpful to do both radio and digital?
Well, thank you for the question, Eric. Firstly, that's where we see the market is headed. A recent survey conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers 2019 said that the market opportunity is about 16.9 billion. So that's the amount of money that is out there for companies like myself. Right now, the same survey says that about 56% of this by 2022 will be towards online. So traditional mediums, radio, print, television, billboard, are all sort of dying mediums, as we say. Although the amount of money that businesses are spending is the same, the component of that money towards digital marketing is increasing. And as any businessman, you need to be in an economy that's growing.
It's difficult to tell, of course, because what electronic media does is create awareness rather than say call now. But what we do know is when we run these campaigns and you look at the source of leads report, it's minuscule. You can spend a lot of money and people just don't cite radio, TV as the reason for it. I'm totally against it, actually. I know some franchisors and some divisions use it. My view is radio, TV, no way. Don't want to do it.
It's really expensive as well. Like, for example, we work with clients all across the board. The average spend for a client is about $500 to $600, right? Try to get anything on radio for that value.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's
also,
impossible.
we're pretty well known by and large. So you don't have to remind people because Jim's is top of mind. Now, in some divisions like pest control, for example, or computer services we're not known to be doing that necessarily. But when they see the logo, when they look up a service and they say, "Oh, Jim's, that's like the mowing," I'll call them.
Yeah.
So that is my view. You go what people are looking for, and I think anything besides electronic media, besides digital media, is really a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really good.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? It's your business.
Of course.
But I'm not biased.
We've tried it all. For example, it's very important for us to try a little bit before you know if it works. We printed 10,000 pamphlets, believe it or not, Jim, advertising our business in the local area.
Yeah.
And we distributed 10,000 pamphlets to businesses and homes in the area, all 10,000 of them. And we thought that even if we get one inquiry out of this, we've sort of, covered our covered our bases. Zero. That's how many inquiries we got.
Yeah.
The only time I've heard leaflets working lately is for Jim's Poo Patrol. They're doing a thing in New South Wales where they've tried that, and leaflets actually do get some sort of response because it's such a novel idea. And it's going to be a great division too. But apart from that, really leaflets don't work. That's how I started off. Back in 1992 when I started off, my $24 was to do leaflets. I got instant printing and stuff, and we put them in letterboxes, and that got us going.
Yeah.
But these days you die.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work anymore.
Doesn't work. We wasted a lot of money on that.
So first of all, it was leaflets, and then local papers. They were really good.
Yes.
Then Yellow Pages was pretty good too.
Yes.
And now,
It's all gone.
I let Yellow Pages possibly worth a little bit, but I wouldn't do, because at least people are looking for what you have. But anything
Saying that,
else?
I don't think I actually have a Yellow Pages, so
No, you go online.
yeah, I won't
Yeah,
get
you
it.
go
I use
yeah,
Yellow
yeah,
Pages at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go online and have a look for them.
Yeah, correct. So Yellow Pages online is probably the online version of Yellow Pages.
Pages, yeah. What do you see as the longevity for digital marketing? Do you think it's going to go the way of things like leaflets and local papers, and
Well-
will something be better than it?
Well, I think digital media will always be there. The way that we use it or channels that we use to communicate will always change. So today it is Facebook, for example, right? The social network of choice. Who knows, tomorrow there may be another fangled network that all the Uber kids are using. So people just jump over there. So the basis will always remain the same: digital media, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, but the channels will always change.
Because I know platforms like YouTube are having huge issues at the moment, sort of trying to monetize their platform. A lot of people are pulling out.
Yeah.
So the actual value of sort of YouTube content now is sort of degrading quickly.
It's annoying because they put 2 ads on these days.
Correct, but they're
do.
doing that because the value of their ads just isn't there anymore.
Yeah, people just skip.
Or they've got an ad block, or people. That's why I think they've even upped it to sort of 3 or 4 now on certain videos.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I got slapped with one the other day for 4 ads
Yeah.
at 15 seconds.
Oh my
Reloaded. I wasn't doing it.
It's like watching paid free-to-air TV. They've got the YouTube one without the ads, which you can subscribe
Yeah,
to.
$20. Yeah, tried it. Not bad. Enjoyed it, but I thought it was a little bit too steep.
$20 per what?
Per month.
Per month. Wow, that's a lot.
For no
That's a
ads,
lot.
Even though you could use uBlock Origin and no problem, you wouldn't have an ad again. But we'll move on. So that was a great question, Eric. Thank you very much for that. Jason Pollack has said, "Evening, guys. Jim, love the new franchisee newsletter video version."
Oh, good.
Which is
good.
fantastic. We've had a few people really enjoy the video version of the newsletter, which is fantastic. Keeps me going. Safi is awesome and an asset for my region. Very knowledgeable man. So Jason thinks you're worth it.
Thank you.
And
Jason.
his check will be in the mail, so you can
Yeah.
electronic version.
So that doesn't even actually cost him much, to be honest. All right. Joanne Renahan has said, "Hi Safi, what's the most common SEO mistake made these days?"
Well, I think the most common SEO mistake made these days is, so if you're trying to do it yourself, you'll have to separate this question into 2 parts.
Yeah.
The first one, let me just answer the one, if you work with a third-party agency like myself,
Yep.
right? Or you work with a digital marketing partner. The number one mistake that we see most people make is signing up to year-long contract, which are airtight. You cannot escape these clauses. And unfortunately, if the relationship goes sour, you have to, pay out the whole 11, 12 months.
we had one of those, and that was not good for our Skipins division.
There you go. Right. So that's the number one thing that we say. Like,
Yep.
for example, with us, we don't have any contracts. Like, we just don't. It's just you either love us and you want to keep working with us, or if you don't like us, just free to go.
Yep.
For us, the relationship is more important. So that's the first thing about working with third-party companies or partners, etc. Right. The number 2 mistake that people make when trying to run SEO themselves is to get a server that's really, really slow.
Yep.
Right? Because most people will not wait for more than 4 seconds.
Yeah,
before.
Joel says 3 seconds. That's his aim.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit lenient. 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
He went and checked out our websites, and he found they were taking up to 11 seconds.
Correct.
So he managed to really, really, really work on it. Some of them,
Correct.
we're aiming to be down below a second.
Correct. We're about less than 2 seconds last time me and Joel checked. So it's like really, really low now. 1.9, 1.8 sort of
But
thing.
that's the average across the group. Some websites load a lot faster than others.
Absolutely.
But we do aim in Jim's to be within 3 seconds.
Correct. So use a server that's really, really quick.
It's also a matter of the design of the website too, isn't it? It's what you
does.
put on it. Some things load a lot faster than others.
Images, for example. If you take an image using one of Jake's fancy cameras,
Yeah. It'll be huge. It'll be huge.
it's going to be huge. So that's why you got to always work with images or compress them using some sort of software so that it just loads quicker. So speed.
Yeah, excellent
All right.
question. Thank you for that. Hader has commented, said regarding insurance, Yadrin has convinced our previous insurer to consider taking us back. We are negotiating as we speak. Premiums and excess costs will reduce. So that's quite good.
I still like to talk about this business, about whether it's possible to
Yeah, similar.
start high and then drop off for known claims bonus. I think we should look at it.
Similar to how they do insurance for drivers. Obviously, P-platers tend to have higher insurance.
So somebody's been around, especially for 5 or 10 years, and they've never had a claim. I mean, it'd be nice
reward
to,
them.
I think, reward them, treat them a bit better.
Yeah.
Health insurance companies do that a bit.
Yeah, correct. If you don't have claims, it's
you
the
don't
same
have
with
claims,
cars. If you don't, if you don't
No
have any
claim
crashes.
bonus?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It matter getting the underwriter to agree to it, of course,
Yes.
and working out the sums and so forth. But yeah, I think it's got some possibilities there.
All right. So back in the live feed, got a few people watching now, which is great. Joseph have said, reckon Jim's medical cannabis would shoot off. The SEO works itself. Would probably not deal into the into any drug delivery stage.
From my point of view, caffeine is a dangerous drug. Really, I don't think cannabis would be one of the first things I go for.
Although in saying that, you've got Eric on Jim's Mobile Cafe, so it's one more step towards madness.
I'm speaking personally. I don't mind having Jim's Mobile Cafe. Eric's great, and it's very nice,
He is
very nice
brilliant,
stuff that he
Eric.
produces. But cannabis has all sorts of problems. I wouldn't make it illegal. I think that's a problem, but there is, to me, so much evidence of long-term character change of people who've been
course.
heavy cannabis users, particular. They tend to become very negative, very really some bad attitudes. I've seen this again and again. I think that it's terrible stuff. Actually, I wouldn't make it illegal. I wouldn't make heroin illegal either. I think the
you're right.
illegality makes things so much worse. But these are all bad. They're really bad.
Yeah.
But Joseph has fired back with a serious question. He says, in all honesty, though, I was using WordPress with max SEO ratings on each page to mediocre results. How do I fix that? I understand all my images are under 100 kilobytes, but there is a lot going on. Is that going to be a loading issue? So lots of images. They're small images, but lots of them.
But lots of them?
Yeah.
All right, so as long as the size of each image doesn't exceed 300 kilobytes, you should be okay. So the large images that we're talking about, so you definitely don't want to go into the MB range. So anything 1.2 MB, 2 MB, definitely bad. It's going to affect performance. Try and keep it below 500 to 300 kilobytes in image. Yeah. So that's and what is the second part of the question, Jake?
The second was that is that going to cause loading issues? So that was the entirety of the question.
Correct. So another way that you could do this, and you can Google this, right? Everything you can get on Google, is look for a CDN. It's called as a content delivery network. So basically what it does is that it keeps your website here, but your images are loaded on a server elsewhere, right? So every time someone loads a page, it looks at the logo, all the words, but it comes to an image. The images are stored in a really, really fast server in America or locally, that sort of stuff. So use a CDN. You can Google search it. Tons of providers outside. It'll help.
All right, now back to medical cannabis. Jim, what about medical cannabis that is seeing great results in treating cancer pains and MS sufferers?
Yeah, there are some potential medical uses for it. It's also there's different grades of cannabis too.
Yes.
Some of them have effects on pain and so forth without necessarily having some of the more addictive effects. It's a very varied substance, and one of the problems, of course, being illegal, you don't exactly know what you're getting.
Yes.
In that sense. Look, I certainly think that people who are late stage terminal cancer sufferers, if cannabis can relieve pain, I'm not against it. I just think as a recreational drug, it's a horror.
Yes,
and I think it's far worse than people think. But medical use in some situations, yeah, for sure.
All right, so Jim's medical marijuana has got the sign of approval. Not yet. We'll come back to it.
Conditional.
Conditional.
We stick to service businesses. I don't think product is quite where we're going to be at.
So not yet.
Local supermarket.
All right. So next question. This is a bit of a tough one. Well, potentially depending on how you look at it. So for the sake of transparency, what are all of Jim's revenue streams? So not necessarily their dollar amounts, but where does Jim make all of its money? Where does the money come from?
Well, franchise fees, basically.
Is there any other streams that turn a profit?
Well, not really, because we have the only other thing we do make a small amount of money out of being a insurance broker.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing that's not insurance related. We've got Gyms Plus, which is the business of selling our jobs to non-Gyms people, but that's actually still making a loss. It probably will break even next month or two, and after that we hope to be able to use the money to actually boost the amount of work coming through. But right at the moment, fundamentally, everything for franchise fees, we have a very strong policy of not making money out of product supply.
Yes.
We don't have required dealers. The only exception is public risk.
Right.
Because they find if we don't do that, it's the only way of knowing that we've got everybody insured, but nothing else, no other insurance policy, no product, no nothing. You have to buy from us. It's a very basic principle. In fact, we had a situation with painting where we got a great deal from Taubmans, I think,
Yes.
where they gave us 35% off paint, which is fantastic, and it's actually such a good discount that it for certain of our painters it actually pays for their fees.
Right.
But they also said there's another 10% that you've got to have, and we said we don't want it. Give it to the franchisees, and said we cannot do that. We have to give it to you. So we said, okay, we'll take it, and we give it back to our franchisees because our whole philosophy will not let us be supplier. And what's happened with people like Retail Food Group, one of their major problems is they force people to buy stuff from their suppliers. They buy it for twice what it costs in Coles. Sometimes the supply is poor. It's a shocker. And I have a fundamental problem with that kind of attitude.
You're right. Also third-party enforcing and all of those things,
Yeah,
right?
so there's no actual rules about where you have to buy from.
No,
Except for-
we can define quality. For example,
Yes.
with the cleaning products, you don't have to buy ours, but just buy stuff that's recommended, which is the same kind of enzyme based. Just don't go out and buy something that's going to scour somebody's table. But that's not saying buy it from us. It's just saying buy something good. We had one case where one of our franchisors was a supplier, and they wanted in fact, a divisional franchisor wanted people to buy from them. And the franchisees objected, and they came to me and said, "Oh no, you got to buy from us." And I said, "Well, why? It's the same factory that makes that they can buy from. It's the same factory."
Right.
And they said, "Ours has got this is our antennas actually." They said, "Ours has got a red stem." I said, "That's not good enough. You can't pay more because it's a red stem. If it's the same quality, your franchisees can buy from wherever they wish."
So that was a good question. Joseph, back on medical cannabis. I knew we'd get there eventually. Absolutely agree on recreation use, mate. I have benign brain tumours, and cannabis lets me work 60 hours a week without any issue. Once the referendum in New Zealand gets okayed, hopefully I will be giving you a call. My brother is a proud owner of a Jim's Mowing franchise in Wellington. Also, changed his life for the better, so thank you very much for that. So, if it gets the okay, we could be starting it in New Zealand. Who knows? Who knows? You never know, Jim. All right. So next question we've had emailed into us was we've got quite a few divisions now. How many would you say in your history of divisions have failed, and were there any that surprised you that you thought that's a sure thing?
I mean, you never start a division if you think it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know the number actually, but there's quite a few that haven't gone. I mean, most divisions we've started are still going. But Jim's Timber Milling was one we tried. It looked like a great business, and it just didn't prove to be very good at all. One we had was Jim's Interior Design.
Yes, I remember that one. Yeah.
That was a real tough one. They had 4 franchisees, and none of them were making money. And we just came to the conclusion that it was hopeless, and we actually managed to get them all free cleaning franchises.
Yes, I think Nicole Woods.
And Nicole actually became a highly successful franchisor, so she's a very smart lady, obviously so it wasn't the franchisees' fault they were failing. But sometimes divisions don't see the work. We had one roller doors
Yes.
just recently, and it got to the stage they signed a few people and they just weren't making money. So we actually said to them, "You're not going to sell any more franchises until your guys are making money." And we actually arranged to we halted all their regional fees, and we halted all the franchise fees for a period of time to give the thing a chance to recover and prove itself. But I said, until you can prove to me that these guys are going to be able to make a good living out of this, you're not going to sell another franchise. So sometimes things don't work. It looked like a good business, but it just they just couldn't find the work to keep the guys busy and prosperous enough.
Were there any that surprised you that they failed?
Well, they all do. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't start anything if I
Unless
think it's going to fail.
Yeah.
We go into it pretty carefully.
Yeah.
I think sometimes in the early days we were probably. It's not actually when a division fails. Sometimes, like with interior design, the model is difficult, and that's because you need to have a big supply of furniture.
Yeah.
But the usual reason that a business works or it doesn't is because of the quality of the leadership.
Agreed.
And you look at divisions that have done well, like Test and Tag, for example.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's no particular reason why Test and Tag is our third biggest division. It's got like 180 franchisees. We just had some very, very good leadership in the early days, and they just produced a great culture, great systems, and it did well as a result. And if you look at building inspections, another example. That's been a really good division. It's got over 100 now. It's only been going about 6 years, and it's by far the biggest in Australia. And it's, you know, Paul's just a great leader. So if you have a look at what works and what doesn't, usually the leadership is the point. I mean, another example is fencing, which has just taken over, and that was in languishing for years when we actually managed to buy it back. Put Archie Hood in control, and it's now starting to take off.
Yeah, so excellent question. Thank you very much for that one. So please be sure to leave a question in the stream for the Jim or Safi. You've got great bit of knowledge on this panel at the moment. Crossing over to the other streams. We've already done those. Shane Hicks says, "Hi, Jim." So, hi, Jim.
Hi, Shane.
So another question, and we get this all the time. So on every ad that we put on Facebook, we always get this question: why don't you be upfront with the price? So on all of our ads that we run, we never disclose the price.
Price of what?
Of a franchise.
I don't know why they don't put the price on it.
So because generally they'll be generic ads. So they're generally.
Well, it can vary a lot too, of course. I mean, it depends on what you're buying. You might buy in certain areas they're cheaper than others because there's more work available. Like if you've got a massive amount of unserviced leads, you're going to charge more. Sorry, you're going to charge less in that area because there's no problem finding work. With another area where there's not much work and they have to put money into advertising, you're going to charge more. Also, you're going to buy an established business.
Yes.
That can be different. I mean, you can buy a established Test and Tag. Could set you back, 6 figures.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making $3,000 a week from the word go, it's really worth a lot of money. So it's not easy to actually put a single price up that covers all that eventualities. Yeah. Sometimes you can say it's from so and so to so and so, but
generally the ads that we run are pretty broad specs. So generally speaking, it just wouldn't make sense to put a price on it. There's such a large variety of different options. You could be buying a split, or you could be buying a brand new territory.
The other thing too is that what you pay can vary a lot too. We do things like vendor terms at times.
Yes.
As an example, so there's not so much up front. In fact, we're doing a lot more of that these days because the banks are so hard to deal with. So, yeah, what you pay can be variable. We don't like losing. If we've got somebody who's good and could put a few $1,000s down, we don't like to lose them because the actual cost of a franchise is very small by comparison with the potential earnings. You're talking about people buying a business where they get back their income in 3 years, their expenditure in 3 years. Well, with us, it's 2 or 3 months typically. Not very long at all.
Not at all. And just to add to that, some of the clients that we're working with, we're seeing the shift. So about 3 years back when I was here, that used to be the way to operate. Franchises available, call now, inquire now. So the price was never really disclosed. But with this new breed of management and the people who we work with, for example, Archie Hood, if you're listening, for all of his campaigns, for example, we have the price right there in front. So and that avoids star kickers. We work a lot with the Test and Tag guys. They're also franchise available from.
Okay.
We're working with the guys in bin cleaning up in QLD, Ross and Mark. Franchise available from. As a matter of fact, we subtly we push it and we talk to our clients and say you got to have some sort of a range, right? Because it could be $1 for all we know.
From can work, yeah. But it can be a lot more. Depending on what
it
you're
can
buying.
be. Yeah.
So do you find that, because I don't know the answer to this, so do you find that you have many tire kickers if you don't disclose the price at all?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So you generally end up with more dead legs.
Because generally that's the first question that a person will ask. Of course, you can sell him on the whole promise of the group and the whole culture of the company and your earning potentials and all of those things. The first question in the first 3 seconds you'll get is what's it going to cost me? And if you can satisfy that question, people are willing to listen. So in all the actual ads that we're running, we're mentioning franchise available from that dollar amount. And of course, there's a little asterisk over there which says vehicle extra and all that line. So we have our bases covered, but it lets people know, like, if you are able to make a financial investment of around this much,
then you
should be interested.
So excellent question. Thank you again for that one. Reno has gone, hi Safi. What do you see as the SEO, the next big thing in SEO?
Good question. Hi, Yui. The next big thing, I think, in SEO is the rising tide of social media influencers. Right? So social media signals are a big factor in website rankings. So for example, theoretically, if Jim on his Instagram puts a little tweet, puts a little note and say, hey, check out Safi, and that's his website link.
Yes.
All of his Instagram or followers would visit my website. And that is a signal to Google that, hey, there's a lot of people going over here. Must be something great. Let's moving up. Right. So from position number 5, you may move up to position number 4. Funny thing about Google and SEO is Google only loves you when everyone else already loves you. So if you've got thousands and thousands of people visiting your website because of a social media influencer, Google takes that as a positive signal. So more and more people are jumping on the social media influencer bandwagon. We've actually rolled out a little service, testing it out with a few clients to see if it's viability, feasibility. But that's definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Do you think Facebook is trying to curb that market by taking away things like likes and sort of those social
It
indicators?
is absolutely trying to do that because the algorithms of Facebook are now, they've changed.
Yes.
Right. 10 years back, if I put a photograph of me vacationing in Hawaii, for example, all 40 of my friends, that's right, I only have 40 friends on Facebook, would see the same photograph.
Yep.
Now I would be lucky if one person sees it, right? So that's why it's curbing. But at the same time, with more and more people taking to social media nowadays, it's easy to get fans and followers if you do the right things. So try to, and you don't have to know a Hugh Jackman, right? You don't have to know a Kylie Jenner. You don't need that. So work with niche influencers in your work. For example, here's a good idea. If you go to the gym, you would probably have a fitness instructor there.
Yep.
All of the people who go to that fitness instructor would probably be following him on Instagram.
Yep.
And he probably has got 300, 400 people over there. That's good enough to begin with.
Yep.
Right. So start locally and work on your social media influencer connections.
Our philosophy basically is to work with Google to do what they want, and what they want is websites that work well. So one of the things we're doing a lot of is putting a lot of content.
Yes.
We want a person to go onto our website and see such great stuff on there that they stay on it.
Yes.
And then Google recognizes that and they say, hey, these people are staying on this website on average for 10 minutes. It must be a good site.
Correct. Video as well helps.
Yes.
Since we're on the subject.
Well, that's why
I'm here.
That's why Jake's here.
Yeah, yes. And believe it or not, videos recorded in 4K have got a better ranking than 1080p.
Oh, really? Do they?
Yeah, so they figure higher up in the rankings.
Oh, there you go.
So, like, these are small things that you can do by yourself to impact SEO. Like shoot videos in 4K, get great content, work with influencers, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, so excellent question. Thank you again for that, Yui. Jason Pollack has got another question for Safi. We really should go ask Safi on this one. We didn't really need you here tonight, Jim.
No.
So question for Safi, which works better, Instagram ads or Facebook ads?
Well, believe it or not, Facebook owns Instagram.
Yes, they do indeed.
So every time you publish an ad on Facebook, it gives you the option, would you like to cross post on Instagram? So I always leave that as ticked. So it's good to publish both. And because you're using the same system, Facebook, right? It works out where the audiences are better suited. If a customer is engaging better on Instagram, typically on Instagram, you will see people in the age range of 31 to 55.
Yeah.
Right. You'd see probably people on Facebook in the age group of 18 all the way to, as high as they can get. So that's why leave the big decisions to Facebook. And because Facebook owns Instagram, I would say just go with Facebook, and Facebook will give you the option to cross post.
Facebook also has, if you run a page, it's got a great thing called Facebook Creator Studio. It lets you set up everything through there as well, and then it will automatically, you can set it to cross post.
You can,
and you can also do that through Facebook Ad Manager as well.
Easy peasy.
So they're running them on both is very, very easy.
Facebook has this great training program called as Facebook Blueprint. So just Google it. Just funny, right? Google Facebook.
Yeah.
If you just Google Facebook Blueprint, it'll give you lead you eventually to a page in which they have the step-by-step instructions on how to do it. A lot of these things you can learn on YouTube yourself. You can learn a lot of these things on YouTube. But do check out Facebook Blueprint. It's really helpful.
Okay.
Excellent. So next, so back in the feed, Sean Hicks says, "Hi Safi." So hello Safi. So I've got another question. This one is actually from me, Jim. Last week you said you wouldn't sell Jim's group for $1 billion.
No, I said I probably would sell for $1 billion.
Oh, you'd sell it for $1 billion. All right.
Which is by any reasonable, it's more than 10 times what it's probably worth. Yeah.
What would you do with $1 billion? Because it's a lot of money.
Research.
You reckon you could spend it all on research? Because I was looking into it. Right, it would actually be deemed as a mega project. So you could send a robot to Mars for about $1 billion.
That's not my aim.
Yeah, but it's a lot of money.
My research program, if I had $1 billion, I would spend it. Not because I like to do it, because I love gyms. It's more fun than anything else.
Yes.
But I think with the right investment in epigenetics, you could change the world.
Yes.
Because I think everything that's going wrong with the world, everything to do with crime, to do with war, to do with poverty, to do with drug addiction, to do with obesity, they're all set epigenetically. And if we can understand the epigenetic roots of human behavior and change that, we can make dramatic changes. So I think I'd feel morally, if somebody made me an utterly insane offer, I'd feel morally obliged to accept it for that reason. I still hope I could be involved in Jim's Group because I love Jim's Group. It's really fun. I hate taking time off. I hate holidays because it's so much fun to be running this business. Yeah. It's just every day is exciting. Every day is new. Every day is learning. Every day is progressing. It's just a wonderful business. But if I'm offered a ridiculous amount of money, but nobody's going to do that. In reality, and the point of it is too, if it ever got to the stage where it's worth nearly $1 billion, I'd say, okay, well, I want $10 billion.
Yes. You just upped it.
You just upped it.
And what would you do with $1 billion, Safi?
Well, until the point where Jim said he would up it, I was probably going to take it and offer it to you. But then the minute I walk up over there, he's going to say, no, it's 10. So there you go. Because I think that at $1 billion, you could easily make it into 10 times that big.
Yeah.
Given the right circumstances and the favorable conditions, easily nothing stops it from growing to 10 times what it should.
We're a relatively small company in income terms because the vast majority of the revenue goes to the franchisees. I mean, we get something like about 1% of what franchisees earn that comes to our bottom line. It's a very, very
thin,
small amount. So it's a generous system in that sense. So what it means is what we have got is an incredibly powerful logo, brand that doesn't really reflect in the value of the business itself. Because but that's just the way I've always designed it. I mean, my whole aim was to get my franchisees to be successful, and we don't. I mean, we're spending a couple of $1 million a year on IT right now. I mean, there's no immediate payback from that, but down the track a bit, we're going to be able to give better service to our franchisees, to our customers, and it's going to be great. So you're constantly ploughing the money back in.
You are.
Yeah.
So excellent question again. So we've got one more.
That was your question.
Oh, that was my question.
He said
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Excellent.
No, I thought it was an excellent question.
I thought of it.
You just said it.
Of course, it was an excellent question.
Yes.
All right. So now, next question. Again, see this one all the time on Facebook. What makes why? Because the question is, what makes gyms different to a pyramid scheme? I see this a lot. People call it a pyramid scheme. It's a scam. It's gym's going to rob you blind. Why is it different to a pyramid scheme?
Well, a pyramid scheme, basically, a pyramid scheme would be, and this was actually done at one time. There was one of our competitors in New Zealand called Greenacres, where they were selling ironing franchises, basically new immigrants. And what they would do is they take the money from and then they would get them clothes for the Salvation Army, and they pay them to actually supposedly do the work. But it was complete because there was no real income coming in. It was just the new people buying in and paying this money, and that was being used to sort of make the people who were in it already think they were getting something out of it. Yes. That's a pyramid scheme. But I mean, one thing to mention about gyms is we've got nearly 4,000 franchisees. Yes. Effectively, they don't have to be there. They can go independent at any time. The most we'd ever charge is $4,000 in our contracts. So a person could walk away for the sake of what amounts to no more than 6 months worth of fees. Yeah. So everybody is there because they want it, because they see benefit from it. And sometimes people do go independent. It's not that uncommon. And I say that's fine if you don't see the value in what we do. But if you choose to, I mean, it's a bit like somebody getting their lawns mowed. If you choose to pay the money, the $60 or whatever, $50 every 3 weeks to get your lawns mowed, you're doing it because you get value. Because if you weren't getting value, you wouldn't keep on paying it, would you?
Yes, it's the line is becoming slightly blurred because there's a lot of multi-level marketing schemes out there with the new age of the internet that try to make everything look like a franchising system, and then they trap you in. So there's thousands of them now of just different schemes. So we see it a lot now that people think this is just another one of those scams. But there's a lot of defined rules and
the way gyms has always worked right from the beginning too is we're very open and encourage, even well before it was the franchising code, ring our current franchisees. If you want to know what a franchise is like, ring the franchisees in the division. We'll give you a complete list, and anybody else should too. Pick up your phone and ring as many as you possibly can. And if they tell you don't buy gyms, it's a con, then don't buy it. Yeah. But that's not the answer you're going to get. Yeah. At least you better not get it.
So there's a lot of transparency involved as well.
Yeah.
So back into the feed, Sean Hicks has gone, hi Safi, have you seen the Netflix documentary The Great Hack on Cambridge Analytica on the Trump campaign and Brexit? Thoughts?
Yes, I have, and I've been following that case very, very closely. Definitely what happened was a bad thing. People's data is something that is very private to them. Yes. And previously, before the whole Cambridge Analytica, Project Alamo, all of these things came to light, people used to just, without reading the terms and conditions, used to just click submit, sign your life away. But now you see, as a result of such documentaries, people are reading those terms and conditions carefully before signing up to networks or just choosing to delete their information. Right to be forgotten is a thing now. Yeah. Right? You, as a human being, you have the fundamental right to go to Facebook, YouTube, and all of these networks and tell them, hey, just delete my data. So it's definitely a thing. It is gaining popularity, the anti-social network, as they call it. But it's definitely here. Like people are aware of it.
But that need for privacy, I mean, surely people know that, if I upload a photo on Facebook, or I upload a status, or I use my device with location services, surely people are sort of been aware. And is it all that bad? Is there huge negatives to this sort of privacy leak?
The negative will come in ways that you don't expect it. For example, when you go and sign up to Facebook, for example, right, there's something called a security and privacy settings. You can go over there and unselect what you want. So you have got the power to do it. However, as always happens, is that you have first someone who breaks the law, and then the law catches up to them.
Yes.
Right. So right now the system is foolproof. Tomorrow, who knows, there may be another Cambridge Analytica, and all of our data would be available for the highest bidder to manipulate. Now, while it's okay if someone tries to sell me a pen, right? That's okay, right? What do I lose? I lose, a couple of bucks, right? Yep. The implications are that when Project Alamo was launched with the under the guidance of President Trump, they mined these data sets, and then they use that data to influence the result of election of a country. So now you have the nuclear button in the hands of someone who may or may not have been elected because of the right reasons, because of the fact that voters were swayed. So you've got to really be careful with your data, because it can be used in ways that you probably don't know.
Yeah, there's some pretty big positives in the fact that advertisers know what people are like, because for a start it's good for the advertiser, and I am a big advertiser of course, to be able to reach people who want what I've got to offer. But the other side of the thing too, even as a consumer, I mean, there's not a lot of point in sending me ads about luxury cars or tampons or something like that, because they're not of interest. But if somebody was to actually approach me with, say, books about business or something like that, I mean, or something that I'd really be interested in, I'd love to see it. So as a consumer, I like relevant advertising.
Yes.
And when you go into Google and you look for something and you see ads there, and you think, oh, that looks interesting because it's what I want.
A lot of people do find it invasive, like and whether or not Google and Facebook and Amazon do it or not, whether they listen to you through your device, it's up to debate on whether they actually do. But a lot of people feel like their privacy is being invaded. That
I find it very amusing actually, because when I'm looking up Jim's sites, and so Jim's is chasing me around the internet.
Yeah, I get so many ads for gyms now. It's basically all. I can't even buy things anymore because it's.
Well, somebody's doing their job, even if they are they're wasted on these eyeballs. Because if I was going to use a service, I'd use gyms because we're the best, obviously. But still.
Yeah, of course, this is already relevant for countries with geopolitical conflict. Yeah. That's where you see these networks really playing up. Like, it's a well-known fact that the revolution of Egypt started by a Facebook page. Yeah. That's how it started. Yeah. So there are reasons for and against the whole right to be forgotten network. And some countries are social. Yes. We're really lucky because Australia is really an open country. You can do all these things, but there are a lot of countries where still Facebook is blocked. Instagram is blocked. Like, you have to then question what's actually happening over there. Why are the governments being so cagey with their own citizens? So that's the sort of thing that...
Or even the way the Chinese do it, which is even more clever, where they actually use this whole thing to keep an eye on everybody.
Yes, you're right.
Really, so you just do anything online, somebody knows about you. I mean, that is really...
scary.
That is really scary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's... Yeah, and a lot of companies sort of at the moment sort of very, very hot topic. Things like Hong Kong that big companies are sort of giving China the data that they need so that they can track people, and they're sort of giving more and more information.
Yeah, and people have these social scores depending on how well you toe the line in your life, and then they have face recognition so they know where you are and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's pretty freaky stuff.
That
really
is freaky stuff. Yeah.
I wouldn't like our government to have quite that degree of power, though. We do pretty well at keeping terrorists at bay, so I suppose there's certain areas where it's a good idea.
But is there a line that you can't cross? Is there is there a point where you say that's enough? We can't. Is the need for safety?
There's always a line. I just tend to put it on the side of safety more. I mean, if you've got some reason to think that somebody wants to blow up the Sydney Harbour Bridge, I'd rather they kept an eye on it rather than said, "Oh, we don't want to worry about privacy too much."
Yeah, just stop it.
Let's accept a little, a few thousand people dying. That's not too much of a risk. I mean, one thing, we haven't had another 9/11.
Yes,
and that is thanks to having some pretty good intelligence work.
Correct.
They infiltrate these groups and they spy on them and stuff. And I say, God bless them. That's fantastic. So I think privacy can be overvalued.
Yeah. In today's day and age, it's almost understood and acceptable that there is some amount of snooping happening, right? At some level.
Particularly when with weapons of mass destruction, it's increasingly dangerous.
You have to, yes.
I mean, you can cause so much damage to so many people. What if somebody starts putting, toxic bacteria into reservoirs and stuff? You could do terrible problems like that. People could die in the hundreds of thousands or in the millions. So it's worth losing a little bit of privacy
for national security
at that level. Yes.
All right, we'll move on from privacy. It was good discussion though. So great questions from privacy. We'll go to something a little bit lighter. Jim, if you had to buy a franchise, you had to become a franchisee again. Can't be mowing. Which franchise would you choose?
Why can't it be mowing?
Mowing closed. We've had to close.
Why?
We've had to close.
Why won't you accept me?
No. Mowing's full. It's far too successful. We have 1 million franchisees in mowing. There's no space.
No, that's not true, Jake. You know perfectly well we've got all kinds of unserviced leads in...
Question.
This is hypothetical. Right? There are no spots in mowing. Mowing is closed. What division would you choose?
Probably gutter clearing. I'd love to set up a division that does gutter clearing without taking away territory rights from mowing franchises. Obviously, I think gutter clearing would be a fantastic job. See, I like being outside.
Yeah.
I love the outdoors. Something like trees would be fun too. I don't, at the age of 67, I don't know if I should be climbing up trees and stuff, but I reckon trees, it's a real macho sort of job.
Yeah.
You know, getting up there in the open air and he's big. I think that'd be fun.
Safi, would you pick a division? Which would you go? You can go mowing. Mowing's open for you.
I could, but let's
You're allowed. There
You're
is
allowed.
a lot of unserviced work. If you ever get tired of the old business with the media and stuff, then there's a role for you in the mowing division, I can assure you.
All right, let's do mowing then, right? So that seems
Mowing?
to be flavor of the season.
Yeah.
No, you can make
but
your own
but
choice.
I'd probably, take another division, probably with dog wash.
Yeah. Dog wash.
You like dogs, do you?
Because
A lot of work in dog wash.
people love their pets and they're willing to spend great amount of money on their pets.
What about Jim's poo patrol? Would you do that one? Going around picking up dog poo. I reckon it's a good business in that.
A dog walking was
You
taking
can
dog
walk
sitting.
them. You can walk them as well.
Oh, why not?
All right. So next question. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but it's Kulshal. What makes your franchise different? What are the costs? So that's the question. Why is Jim's different to every other franchise system out there, be it VIP or McDonald's or?
There is a culture of service that comes from the top. I mean, like, I'll give you one simple example. I've got nearly 4,000 franchisees. Every single one of those franchisees has my direct phone number and direct email address, and they can contact me anytime. Now, if anybody else does it, gets my phone number, I get very stroppy on the phone. Who gave you my number? But every single one of my franchisees can reach me. And today I probably had contact with, at least 15 franchisees directly. Some of them with ideas, objections, notions, everything. Now, no other franchise system works like that I've ever heard of. Even including ones that will be less than a tenth of our size. I know you perfectly. You cannot get to speak to the head guy. That is one big difference. And that just reflects the fact that to us, service to franchisees is part of our DNA. It's part of our fundamental culture. And all of our contracts reflect that kind of idea. We're the only franchise system in the world that allows a franchisee to move to a different franchisor, to vote out their franchisor. That is completely unique, and it all reflects this basic idea. To us, franchisees are the most important, the key to everything, even more than clients. Now, we look after clients because if you don't look after clients, and we press very hard on customer service, but we do that because that's the way to keep our franchisees busy.
Yeah, so 131546, if you are interested, someone will be happy to have a talk. As for cost, it's probably hard without knowing the division, but give them a call. They'll definitely be able to help you out.
Yeah, look, people can get into a franchise for as little as, say, $10,000, depending on the franchise, depending on the deal. You can rent equipment. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. They will require certain minimal investment, but it can be anything up to, a Skip Bins franchise could set you up for $250,000. But it's a good earner, but you've got to buy a lot of expensive stuff to get there.
Equipment,
Yep. So Nicole Hudson has gone, when will the gym stocks be available? I think they already are. I think you can get them through Cleaner's Choice or gyms.net. They're available. Haydar's with your face on it.
The socks.
The socks. People love the socks.
That's right. You can put them on the sole of your foot that you can tread on me every day. You must.
Everyone in the office has got a pair. It's,
Yeah!
they're dancing around the office now. Dan Cahill has gone. I think gutty clearing is very overlooked. There's plenty of work cleaning out gutters. Most of the time, customers don't realise how bad their gutters are until you say something. So
it's really one of the things that frustrates me the most because it's great money, and there's these little gadgets you can get it with cameras on them, so you can actually do it from the ground. It's only about $7,000. It's actually one of the. I say that to so many people. Do gutter clearing. Clearing. It's great money, and you can set up a regular service where you come back. It's a fantastic business. We ought to have Jim's gutter clearing, as I said, without taking the work away from the mowing guys, because it's in their territory, it's in their contracts.
Yeah.
I think we ought to have a gutter clearing division that people just focus on gutters only.
Be very, very interesting to see. So Todd Bryson has gone, do we have Jim's pool safety? It is certainly needed. We are mowing in New South Wales. So things like fences. And
Well, we do pull fences. The fencing division does pull fences. Yeah, you got to have them. You got to have them. I mean, we're into safety. Also, fire safety too.
Yes.
Which is part of the test and tag division.
Yeah.
Great division. You're legally required. You can't, and no business can skip on their fire safety, so it has to be done.
So they have great systems too. So when you get Jim's test and tag in, or Jim's fire safety, and it's going to be done properly because they have very, very strong systems so that make sure everything is done completely correct.
Yeah, you also followed up and said, "Oh yes, dog poo collection for sure." So it could be a winner. People seem to be very keen on it. And Nicole Hudson about the socks says, "Thank you. I've been keeping my eye out, but haven't seen any notifications." So we'll probably leave it there for tonight. All right. Done a good hour. Thank you very much, Safi, for coming on. You've shed some excellent light on digital marketing. We'll do the books before we go. So, Safi, do you want to give a book away? What was your favourite question?
I think my favorite question was the question about data privacy, because that's something that's trending right now and it's really important that everyone should know.
Yes.
So if you can go back in the feed and see who asked that
was,
personal opinion.
Sean, I believe. Sean Hicks. So we'll get a book out to her. Jim, favourite question for the night?
I don't know about the pyramid scheme. I'm going to send you a book so you can actually read up what Jim's is about.
Yeah, all right. We'll do the pyramid scheme one. And finally, I'll go Kushal, who asked about what makes your franchise different. Again, call 131546 if you're interested. All right, but thank you very much for watching tonight. Joel is back from next week, so the show will be better run, better looking, all of that. He's finally getting back from South America.
No, not better looking. Joel is ugly as sin, believe me.
So I'm better looking than Joel is, what you're saying?
Well, not quite as ugly.
Not quite.
Not quite as ugly. All right. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you all next week. See you later.
Yeah, see you later.